Hi, this is Vincent, and welcome to Right of Way, a vlog about traffic, transport, and road safety. In today's episode, I'd like to take up protocol plates. These are the low-numbered license plates issued to high government officials, starting with number 1 for the president, 2 for the vice president, 3 for the Senate president, and so on and so forth. But before we get into it, let's go through a brief history of protocol plates. As far back as I can search on the internet, the history that I see starts in 1958. And I'm sure there was a history before that, but that's as far as I could go. And in 1958, President C.P. Garcia issued an Executive Order 287, which basically outlined the special plates that would be issued to government officials. And it was an exhaustive list, because it included not only high government officials, but also officials all the way down to the city level. And so the plate numbers ran up to well into the 200s. And also the executive order also included plates to be issued to the diplomatic corps, as well as officials of international agencies like the United Nations and the World Health Organization. But what was particular about that executive order was that the plates were to be issued to the official vehicles of these public officials, not to their private vehicles, and maybe for whatever reason. And that's the way it basically remained until about 1978. In 1978, President Marcos issued Executive Order 505. And basically what 505 did was it rescinded all protocol plates. So he recalled all protocol plates. I don't know if it included the diplomatic corps and or the international organizations, but as far as Philippine government officials was concerned, they were asked to return their plates, and no further issuances of protocol plates were to be done. And that's pretty much the way that remained until around 2004. In 2004, President Macapagal issued Executive Order 400, which basically sought to regulate the issuance of the protocol plates, because they had noticed that a lot of these protocol plates were proliferating anyway, because many government officials were seeking exemption from EO 505. And so what happened was they started to proliferate, and nobody was really overseeing them or regulating them. So President Arroyo issued EO 400 to basically regulate the issuance of these protocol plates. But what she did was she also limited them to 16. So again, it's 1 starting with the president, 2 vice presidents, so on and so forth, all the way down to 16, which covered the regional trial courts. So provincial officials, lower ranked cabinet officials, city officials were not anymore allowed to receive protocol plates. What was also particular about the Macapagal issuance was that each official was allowed 2 pairs of plates, I guess for two vehicles, front and back. But unlike the Garcia EO, the plates could be used on the personal vehicles of these public officials. Although it didn't state so expressly, it also didn't expressly state that they could only be used on official government vehicles. And so that's the way it was in 2004. In 2014, about a decade later, President Aquino, through the Department of Transportation and Communications, issued Department Order 2014-004. And basically what it did was it imposed a couple more regulations on the issuance of the protocol plates. One is that for certain officials, the plate on it would have to indicate the district or the department to which the official belonged. So, for example, if it was the number 8 plate that are issued to congressmen, it would have to indicate the district that the congressman was representing. And if it were a cabinet secretary, then it would have to indicate which cabinet the individual was the secretary of. The other thing that Aquino did through the Department of Transportation and Communications, Department Order was to say, also for the district representatives and for senators, the license plate would have to indicate the term of the office. So, for example, for congressmen, it would have to say 14th Congress or 15th Congress and indicate the years of that particular Congress so that people on site could see whether or not that plate was still valid or not. And the third thing that Aquino did in his department order through the DOTC was to say that motorists and vehicles using these protocol plates were not exempt from traffic rules. It was not stated in any of the previous EOs whether or not motorists using these protocol plates would be exempted or not. So Aquino made it very explicit that they were not exempt from traffic rules and regulations. The other thing that was curious about the Aquino issuance was that precisely he said that for district representatives they would have to indicate the district they're from. And I think he did this because sometime during the Gloria Macapagal presidency, the congressmen were complaining that by indicating their district, it was a security risk to them. Yeah, I don't know. Because then people can say, oh, there's my congressman from the 1st district of Iloilo. Yeah, I don't know. Security risk? What? The plate itself is a security risk, the way I see it. So anyway, that's the way it is today. So the latest issuance, the latest regulation that I saw on this is from the Aquino administration. That is the brief history. Now, these protocol plates aren't without controversy. In 2014, there was an Instagram post of a fellow who posted a picture of a license plate and his father's protocol plate. I think it was a number 16 or something. And basically saying that he was going to borrow his dad's plate so he could be exempted from the number coding scheme of the MMDA. And that didn't sit well with a lot of people who saw that post. And he got a lot of pushback on that. The LTO did an investigation on the issuance of these plates. And so there is that. And then more recently, in the news, I read that there was a fellow who figured in a couple of traffic altercation incidents. This was like the end of last year. And his vehicle sported the number 8 plate. And he claimed to be the son of a congressman from Pampanga, apparently a relative of mine. And the congressman denied everything, that person wasn't his son. The vehicle in question didn't belong to him. So it turns out, it seems, if I remember the media reports correctly, that this person was using a fake 8 plate. And over the years, these 8 plates have figured in many sorts of controversial incidents, crimes, in fact. And so at the end of last year, Speaker of the House, former President Gloria Macapagal, told all members of Congress to return their expired plates. Because if you look on the streets today, and I still see them, these 8 plates, the expired ones, are still in use. There are vehicles that are still using protocol plates from the 14th Congress, from the 13th Congress, from the 15th and 16th Congress. We're currently in the 17th Congress. And so it really is prone to abuse. And I think this is the reason. So now to my point. I think it's time that we really reconsider the issuance of protocol plates, because for the life of me, I can't see the value. In one of my Twitter rants years ago, someone said, what is the value to the public, or asked the question, what is the value to the public of these protocol plates? And I thought that was a very valid question. What is the value to us? That a cabinet secretary, that a senator, that a congressman can use these plates. If under the Aquino issuance, vehicles using these plates aren't exempt from the traffic rules and regulations, well, what's the purpose? I could go along with protocol plates being issued to, let's say, the heads of the branches of government and some of the heads of the important government organizations, such as, well, the head of the executive branch, which is the president, vice president, the heads of the legislative branch, the Senate's president and Speaker of the House. And I'd even go along with protocol plates being issued to the justices of the Supreme Court and maybe the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. But beyond that, what is the purpose of a protocol plate? Why do we need to issue a number 6 plate to a cabinet secretary? In one of my tweets back about 5 years ago, I took a picture of a vehicle sporting the number 8 plate. So obviously it belonged to a congressman. But what caught my attention was that the car was a very inexpensive, affordable, economical car. It was a Toyota Yaris, which is a very simple car. And it kind of surprised me to see the number 8 plate on such a simple car, because I think a lot of us are used to seeing the 8 plate on high-end sports utility vehicles, high-end luxury cars. If ever you have the occasion to go to the House of Representatives here in Batasan Hills, walk in the parking lot and look at the number 8 plates and look at the cars that are sitting in the parking lots. I guarantee you almost all of them are high-end sports utility vehicles or imported luxury cars. So anyway, I took a picture of this Toyota Yaris with the 8 plate and I said, hey, that's great. You're leading a modest life, as stated in the Constitution. But anyway, what's the number 8 plate for anyway? So it's sort of an open-ended question. And a congressman joined the conversation. I don't recall if he was a sitting congressman at the time or if he was a former congressman. But basically his reply was, the protocol plate is so that his constituents will know he's in the district, and it's tradition. And I kind of bristled at that explanation because it didn't make sense to me, either of those two explanations. On the first count, not all public officials who are issued protocol plates represent the district. Right? It's only the congressmen that represent districts. So that doesn't make sense to me. And tradition, that's BS. There are lots of traditions that we could do well to get rid of, and I think this is one of them. So so this is my point. Why do they deserve protocol plates, these government officials? I can't see a reason why. And if they're not exempt from the traffic rules, what's the purpose? Just so we know they're on the road? And so what? So we know on the road. So what? If they're worried about security issues, well, by mere fact that they're using a protocol plate, people will know that they are a cabinet secretary or a senator or a congressman. If somebody wants to cause them harm, well, there you go. The car is marked, right? So I think we really need to reevaluate the protocol plates and the purpose of the protocol plates. Like I said, for heads of branches of government, I'm okay, the president, the vice president, senate president, etc. But cabinet secretaries, the sole gen, regional trial court justices, congressmen especially, it's so prone to abuse. If you're on the road, observe. I'm sure at some point you'll see an expired 8 plate being used by a former congressman or the daughter or son or nephew of a former congressman. And that's just abusive. And the other thing is that a lot of these people, they use the protocol plates and then they have this sense of entitlement that they're entitled to special treatment on the road and they can use their wang-wang and their escorts to skirt traffic. And I think this is what particularly is annoying to a lot of us motorists, the way they use this and abuse it. So those are my thoughts on the protocol plate. If you have any comments, I'd like to hear from you on this and what your thoughts are. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, photos, or videos that you'd like to share with us, email us at rightofway@rappler.com, or send us a message on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at rightofwayph. Until then, this is Vincent, and I'm out of here. Stay safe on the road, guys.